Let's keep going on the phones. We were listening to this earlier. Here's Shanahan attacking Matty Mayoko out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think anytime you trade up into the third pick in the draft and it doesn't work out, that's a weird situation. But that is the situation. So that's what happened. I don't think it's that weird. It's unusual that it doesn't work out. But I wouldn't think that's weird. I think it's unusual. What do you think?
The fact that he said goodbye, the day after that one season's over, and he's, all the things that happened with him physically, he comes back, he's, on the side field and ends up re-signing and starting, and it just seems like, it's been a unique.
Do you remember why that happened?
I remember why everything happened, but I'm just saying it's been a unique situation. But
I agree it's been unique.
Man.
Everybody else was laughing. Kyle was not laughing.
Yeah.
So,
well, and, Matt Mayoko with a great response. Yeah, I remember exactly why everything happened.
It's like, I'm Matt Mayoko.
Yes,
I've been here longer than you've been, Kyle.
Exactly.
By a long shot.
Man.
So, yeah. Look, some will call that annoyed, frustrated, arrogant, condescending. But the question we're sort of getting at is, and again, beyond the obvious, we all understand the Trey Lance dynamic. We've been around that block 1,000 times. I guess my question is almost like, why does all the other stuff not drown it out in the end? Where's the beef? It was a loud offseason following a 13-4 record and heading into a season where they're one of the favorites. So where's the beef? I've tried. I've listened. Apparently, I need to do some more listening. I've tried to find the beef with Kyle Shanahan that apparently makes him more bad than good. I've not been able to find it. So that's what we're throwing out to everybody today. Let's go to Jonathan in San Francisco, right here on Willie and Dibby, like he often is. Jonathan, it was great to meet you a couple of days ago as well.
Hey, Mark, nice to finally meet you, and thank you to all the good people, the 95.7 The Game, for doing that again. That's always fun. I always look forward to meeting you guys and watching everything unfold before my eyes. What you guys do behind the scenes.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks for making the drive, man.
I got a couple of beefs. One goes to Kyle Shanahan to answer a question. It's like a 1/3 pound size burger patty for Kyle for not, asking the defensive coordinator, namely Robert Saleh, to be more aggressive, especially in that time where it was 3rd and 15 and they got a double-digit lead, and he lets Robert Saleh call a prevent defense, rushing 4 and dropping 7. You know what happens in the NFL? If you go prevent, you don't win the game. Another beef, it goes to the fan base, the crazy fan base that just won't drop the topic. The guy is not even here anymore, and they just continue to chirp. So this beef is king tut size, and I just want to close this, call with a, the Depeche Mode. Take 2. Don't say potential. Don't say rocket arm. Don't say. Oh man, I'll fumble it again because I'm driving. Sorry, guys. Next call, I'll be right on it.
Oh,
no good.
We can't wait, Jonathan. We can't wait to hear it.
Take 3 will be great.
I don't know what. Jonathan, write it down. Just write it down, right? Just write it down.
Great. Rack that guy.
Thank you. That's what all the Rome callers used to do. You just sit there and write that thing down. How else are you going to go 2.5 minutes with your script?
Impossible.
You can't do it.
Tough to remember all your points, especially when you're going Depeche Mode.
No, but you know me. I'll go for whoever tries to be creative over who nails the read every time.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan, you keep on taking hacks.
And he had a 3rd pound worth of beef in the burger, and the whole thing about, Robert Saleh not being aggressive enough in the Super Bowl. There's a case to be made, but there's also cases to be made around the horn in terms of all the plays in that game that didn't break their way. If one of those plays goes their way, the game probably winds up different, whether it's the Bosa hold or the 3rd and 14 to Tyreek, or it's the deep ball to Emmanuel Sanders, or the throw to George Kittle that you like to talk about where, Kittle's open and he doesn't get it to him. There's another pass that was batted down when there was a player open. There were a number of plays in that game. If one of them or two of them goes the Niners' way, they probably win the Super Bowl.
I think what you're talking about there, though, is very sort of like standard operating procedure between a coach, a team, and its fan base. Never has there been a Monday where we don't all gather and go, what the hell were they doing on that play? You know what I mean? I don't think Kyle takes any offense to the idea of, oh, you should have run the ball there. Or you should have, right? Don't call the prevent. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's normalcy. And that makes all the sense in the world. That's how we fan. But I do think that there is a sound to this offseason that is unlike what it would normally sound like, and I'm not going to say in other cities, in this one too, what it would normally sound like in a city when your team has done what this team has done the last 4 years and is getting ready to do what we think they've got a shot to do this year. This sounded different than that. It sounded way angrier.
Yes, but I think it's because every single offseason going backwards, it feels like there is a question about this same thing, the quarterback position. This year, the question was, is Brock going to be healthy? Can Trey be QB2? What the hell is Sam Darnold doing here? Last year, it was Jimmy's gone. Jimmy's not gone. Is Trey really going to start? Who the hell is Nate Sudfeld, and why did they waste a pick on Brock Purdy? And the year before that, it was, oh my God, they took 3 first-round picks to trade up and take Trey Lance. They must really hate Jimmy Garoppolo. Who is this Trey Lance guy? Is he any good? And the year before that, that might have been the last time where there was no noise because Jimmy was coming off that very Super Bowl we talked about. And there
was noise. There was switch to Brady. You should switch.
Right.
You should switch to Tom Brady. Tom wants to come.
My mistake.
And you should move on. You're
My
right.
mistake.
No, the last time there was no noise was after Jimmy tore his ACL prior to them going to the Super Bowl. And the reason there was no noise is nobody thought they were going to be any good.
Right.
I remember being laughed at because I said they were going to go 10-6. And people laughed me out of the room.
I think I called into your other show and laughed.
You homer jerk! They're 10-6. And what'd they end up going? Were they 12-4?
They were 13-3. I'm looking at it right now, 2019.
Yeah. But there was no noise because they weren't supposed to be any good, which is the hidden compliment in all of this. Your offseason's not loud if you're going to stink. No,
are the Houston Texans having a loud offseason?
No.
How about Arizona?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean,
there might be some noise about like, dude, we should not have signed.
When does USC play this
Kyler
weekend?
Murray. Yeah, exactly. You know? Exactly. So, so I guess in there, tucked into all of this is the emotion the fans have because of the expectation and the hope that they have, and that's all normal, and I get that. Like, I'm no different than any of you on that front. Like, my gosh, the thirst for winning the whole thing. If it's simply that, if it's simply frustration because the team has fallen just short, followed by just short, followed by just short. Well, sure. Who doesn't feel that? But somehow that's been translated to the quotes you were joking about earlier. Where's the accountability, and why is Kyle getting a free pass, and why does Kyle think he's a genius?
Well, I think a lot of the frustration comes from the reality that they are yet to find their franchise quarterback. And they may think that they've found him now. Some fans may think that they have found the franchise QB now, but there are also a big number of fans who think that you just let the franchise quarterback walk out the door for a 4th-round pick. And so there still is some frustration over the way that Trey Lance was handled, thinking that it was unfair and that he didn't get a shot and all the rest of it. So because of that, I think that's where the anger comes from. And there is the group of fans who think you've been here 6 years and you still haven't found your franchise QB. And I think I think it's wrong in many ways because you had Jimmy Garoppolo as your franchise QB. He was the highest paid quarterback in the league, and he led you to a Super Bowl. And then you realized you wanted better, and you tried to get better. and you didn't get better, but maybe you did get better accidentally by a guy who you took with the last pick in the draft. So I think the frustration comes from that, where if you're a Chiefs fan, you're thinking, how old's Mahomes? All right, he's 27 or 28. Cool. We got 10 years of him. Burrow, we got a decade. Allen, we got a decade. So there's not this question about who's my guy.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Can I throw something out there about that comment that you just made? And while I understand the desire for it, just because you have a desire for something doesn't mean you get it. Okay?
Man, it sounds like you're being a parent right now.
Well, I mean, that is pretty close to some things that I've said before, right? Like a lot of us all listening, right? If you're raising kids in the Bay Area, have you ever had that conversation? You know what? Not everybody gets a house.
I want a pony, Dad.
Right, great. I'm glad that you want a pony. So, hey, 49er fans, I know you want a Mahomes. You don't get one. It doesn't work that way. Stop saying snap your fingers and give me my Mahomes. Where's my Allen?
A little Veruca Salt from you right there.
You know what? Like, how many teams are there in the NFL?
That have a Mahomes?
4?
Yeah.
And actually, no. The answer's 1. Because we have fixed that label, and I know where all of our minds go next. Well, but there's Allen, 0 Super Bowls. And there's Burrow, 0 Super Bowls. Jalen Hurts, 0 Super Bowls.
Genital Herberts.
Justin Herbert,
who
0.
I face in the opener.
0 playoff wins.
Wow.
There's Mahomes. There's Mahomes. And then there are others who you're like, yeah, but that's our dude, and we are not wanting for anything. Right. We're cool here.
The Jags have a Mahomes.
Well, the Jags are like, yeah, we're cool with who we got, but even him, like, I don't know where that's going. But you like, it's so expectant to tell a coach, we're going to give you 5 years, and you better find Mahomes. And if you don't, well, then who are you, genius? Like, wow. Holy hell.
Well, I think that's where it comes from, because he is the quarterback whisperer. He's the boy genius. And these are not labels that he never came out and said, you know, I'm a genius and stuff. And I was told to do more breathing in my impersonation. I'm trying to work on that. But that's something that we created, like 2 timelines. We foisted that upon the Warriors. They never said, 2 timelines, guys. Wait till you see this.
We're going to win then. We're going to win now.
Yeah. And that's where I think Kyle gets an unnecessary bad rap as being a genius. I'm sure he thinks highly of himself, but he's never come out and said, guys, I'm the genius and I'm the quarterback whisperer. But we all think that about him, and therefore we think that we deserve exactly what you're describing.
I think Kyle thinks he knows football. Does anybody want to argue that he doesn't?
I think that Kyle thinks that he knows more football than all but probably about 7 people on the planet.
Anybody disagree with that?
I mean, tough to say, but if you are the 8th smartest football mind in the world and you can't figure out how to get an elite quarterback, you waste 3 first-round picks to try to get a guy and he's not the guy,
Belichick's never done it. Belichick's never done it.
He got Tom Brady.
And I'm sorry, so
they drafted Tom Brady, right?
To do what?
To be quarterback. They didn't draft him to be a tight end.
Okay, so, 49ers drafted Brock Purdy.
And he gets credit for that.
So, well, there you go. Peter in Millbrae. Hey, Peter, what's going on? Thanks for calling Willard and Dibs.
Thank you for taking the call. You guys are absolutely right. I think the beef is around the quarterback position, but a lot of things for Shanahan that he gets a lot of flack for, like the Super Bowl against the Patriots when he's the offensive coordinator. It's like you said, where's the defense there? I've been watching football for 33 plus years of my life, and you're telling me that the 25-point lead falls on the offensive coordinator? Makes no sense. Against the Chiefs, 10-point lead with 8 minutes left. Where's the defense? Where is the defense? There are 2 sides of the ball. There's an offensive side of the ball, and there's a defensive side of the ball. Granted, maybe he should have gone to Salah and been like, yo, we need to hold this lead a bit more, get a little more aggressive. Fine. Throw that on him. The Rams won in the championship game. A lot of people don't bring this up. If Jaquiski Tartt catches that interception that gift from God of an interception. With 5 minutes left in the game's over. Instead, it goes right through his hands. And the rest is history. Saleh blows another lead. How about that? I mean, and then what do you want to blame on him for the Eagles game? He Purdy threw out, it got his arm busted. I mean, we left with no quarterback. What are we supposed to do there? And then for the Lance pick, everybody's saying, we gave up this. We could have had Micah Parsons. We could have had that. Does anybody in this fan base remember that if we didn't take a quarterback in that draft, we all would have rioted? If we had stayed at 12 and picked up Micah Parsons, do you think anybody in the Bay Area would have been like, oh, yeah, we got Micah Parsons. Don't know what we're doing at the quarterback position, but we got Micah Parsons. No, we would have rioted here for not having a quarterback. He missed on Lentz. I mean, it happens, but we got Purdy. I mean, does that make sense?
It does to me. Peter, thanks.
I love the passion, Peter.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
octave changes were on point.
Here's the fun thing with the whole draft stuff, because I actually really enjoy that conversation. Like, they could have had Micah Parsons, and the picks they gave up turned into Jalen Waddle, and they were used as capital to get Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb. And people go, we could have had that.
All of them.
I'm sorry. How are you? You're having a hard time paying Nick Bosa. And he's right, too. That would also. Peter is talking about how if you had done that, it also means you need, by now, to have re-signed Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, boy.
To what? $33 million a year?
Something like that.
$35 million a year? And so now we're at a spot where you would have had to pay Jimmy and pay Bosa and pay Debo and Kittle and Fred, prepare to pay Brandon, start preparing to pay Micah Parsons, and I'm telling you, half of them wouldn't be on the team. Jalen Waddle, stop it. They wouldn't all be on the team.
Trent Williams, I mean.
Not on the team.
Right. Not all these guys would be on the team, and there is a certain amount of money that they saved by not having first-round picks because those picks are all slotted, and they're 4 years with a fifth-year option, and I mean, that's why Trey Lance is making so much money as the number 3 overall pick. You don't really negotiate those deals. Those deals are all slotted. They're slotted amounts, and then you sign the deal, and then that's the hit that you have to take.
Hang on one second. Keep talking. I'm on the phone with Kyle. I'm trying to get Peter another room at the house.
Okay.
If possible.
Yeah, Peter and Milbray.
Based on that call, Peter and Milbray is potentially going to be invited over to Kyle.
He's another Shanahan, along with Mark Willihan.
Shanistan.
Kyle and Milbrayahan.
Anistan.
Oh, I hope he has a big house because, they're lining up to defend Kyle Shanahan.
The Ramelia Sports Report just rocked a couple of bucks for a super chat on YouTube to say since 2016, Kyle's offenses are outscored 53-0 in the fourth quarter, which is at minimum an incomplete stat because if they've only given up 53 points in the fourth quarter since 2016, something real banana land's going on. And they haven't scored. They've scored 0 fourth quarter. Now, are we talking about the playoffs? That also cannot be true. So they did not score in the fourth quarter in any playoff game in the entire time that he's been the coach of the 49ers. I know the stat that people have.
Yeah.
And it's something more along the lines of with a lead in the fourth quarter,
they scored 18 points last year against the Seahawks in the playoffs.
Fourth quarter?
Yeah.
In the fourth
they outscored
quarter.
them 18-6.
Okay.
It was 23-17 entering the fourth. So I don't know if that stat is accurate. Maybe in conference championship games.
Yeah.
They outscored Dallas 10-3.
I don't know what it is.
Next week.
I don't even know what the stat is. I know that those kinds of stats in my mind are sort of like when it's after 8:47 at night on a Monday, and if the 49ers are wearing white and if the game was east of the Mississippi, he stinks. They have not won any of those games.
Ramelia Sports Report clarifying in the conference championship game.
In the conference championship game,
right.
Since 2016?
Okay. Yes, so that would be.
So what is that? 3 games? 3
conference
times.
Championship games.
3 times.
Last year they got outscored 3-0 in the fourth quarter.
I'm having a hard
by
now,
Philadelphia.
how many points did they score against Green Bay in the conference championship game? I think they won 8,000,000-0. What was the final score of that game?
In 2019.
2019.
You're talking about.
They didn't score in the fourth quarter?
They were outscored 13-3.
In the fourth quarter.
Correct.
Okay.
They were
Perfect
up
example.
34-7.
Perfect example of why this is a cockamamie stat.
Yeah, and this is how I feel about the opener stat with the Giants openers.
Game was cooked.
Yeah, the opener, like Brebbia, has been amazing as an opener, yet he is 6-3 as an opener, even though he gave up 1 run in his 9 opener efforts. He gave up 1 run, and they were 6-3. And meanwhile, was it Walker? No, the other pitcher who was undefeated for a while.
I think it was Walker.
It was Walker.
I think it was Walker.
And he'd given up, 2 here and 1 there.
Well,
ERA of about 3.5 as an opener, but the team would had his back.
Opener thing has, yes, lost its shine. However, they're also now suddenly using it less because Kyle Harrison showed up. Yeah, I mean, look, we'll get to it.
Oh, yeah, we will.
If the Giants, this is a big series coming up in San Diego.
They're all big.
They're all big. If they can get in and then throw Webb, Harrison, and Cobb in a short series, that's more interesting than it was a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bounce in your step over there.
Well, it was a good series against the Reds. It wasn't great.